co-host Puppers, and today I hope you're having a happy holidays. Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. So, let's go straight to it. I know you guys are excited. I'm excited too. This is going to be my first college football video of 2019. I waited a long time for it, but I'm going to start doing championship games and bowl games. And that's what I'm doing for college football this year. Next year I might do a little bit more college football, but let's get straight to it. There's 6 important championship games for me. Let's get straight into it. Let's do the shirt unveiling first. And you asked me which college football team I'm probably the most proud of this year. I only have about 4 college football t-shirts. But I gotta say, this team I'm proud of too. But I expect them to do a little bit better this year. I think they're going to be really good too. Penn State. But give me Virginia Tech. Let's hear from the Hokie fans out there. I really thought at the beginning of the year they were going to be lucky if they got to be bowl eligible. And at the end of the year, they started competing at a high level of football. Next year, watch out because there was only 1 senior on that entire starting roster for Virginia Tech. They will be almost exactly the same team they were this year, except we're 1 senior and without Bud Foster. And granted, Bud Foster was great, but watch out for Virginia Tech this year. They might actually make a splash in the college football playoffs. But I guess get straight into it. Tonight's game, Pac-12 championship game, Oregon, Utah. This is a huge game for the playoffs. It's not like the SEC or the Big 12 where it's basically a playing game. This is a little bit different because Oregon decided to not be that good. Adelaide, stop acting so bad and trying to lick yourself. That's not a good thing. But they decided to be super bad and lose to Arizona State. And so we're sitting here looking at Oregon. They're not going to make the playoffs. But they're playing for a Pac-12 championship game, which is still, it's really good if you're looking at it right. But Utah, they're actually playing for a spot. If they win, they could probably make it. Now, if I'm a college football playoff committee, I'm just praying Utah loses. Because if Utah loses, the world's a whole lot easier tonight. This basically makes or breaks the playoffs. Utah, if they win, you're going to have a hard time deciding if you're a playoff committee. Are you going to take Big 12 champ or Utah? Me, I take Utah. Sorry, Big 12 guys, but I do think Utah's played better than. I think Utah's going to make it if they win tonight, which is very important. I think they are going to win tonight. The spread is 6.5. Oregon's going to cover it. People forget that Oregon has a top first-round quarterback, not top, like a first-round draft quarterback in Justin Herbert, who can make big-time plays when he's needed. Watch that Arizona State game. He almost brought them back from like a 21-point deficit in 8 minutes. It was like, I was watching the score, I'm like, Arizona State, you're going to blow this, aren't you? But they ended up keeping the lead. It's because Oregon's defense isn't that good. Watch out for Oregon. They're going to cover, but Utah's going to win it straight out. Let's move on to the next game. Really important. Baylor, Oklahoma. Now, this is a very important game because you have a 1-loss Oklahoma, 1-loss Baylor. Baylor's 1 loss, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 1 loss, K-State, which is not that great of a football team, but Chris Kleiman, he's bringing K-State back, and I'm actually really excited to see what they do next year because Kleiman has proven that he's a good coach and can keep them in any game they're in. And to be honest, Delton's not a bad quarterback, but getting off topic here. Baylor, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is favored by 8.5 points, and this is my upset special right here because Baylor's going to win. If you watch that Oklahoma game, Baylor was just the Atlanta Falcons of the college football. You can't go up by that many points and then just make that many mistakes. You're going to lose if you do that. Baylor's going to learn from their mistakes this time. They're going to be playing in a neutral field, which, to be honest, it's probably going to be close to a neutral field. Oklahoma and Baylor. Baylor's a Texas school. Oklahoma's a Oklahoma school. I bet Baylor's going to get more support, but it's probably going to be about even. But I think Baylor's going to win this one because Matt Rhule is a fantastic head coach. He's even up for the Panthers job. This guy can turn anything into an amazing program. Look what he did with Temple when he was there. Matt Rhule, amazing head coach. I love watching him coach football. Baylor's going to win this one. And it's going to be really difficult for the playoff to decide because Baylor would have technically beat every team on their schedule. Now, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but to be honest, for me, there's 6 conferences. It's not Power 5 anymore. It's Power 6. Okay, I get it. Clemson's really good in the ACC. Name another really good ACC team. You can't because there's not any really good ACC teams. Get you there, Adelaide? Adelaide, stop looking there. Stop it. American has many good teams. Memphis is a really good football team. If they don't have that one loss, I feel like they're in the playoff conversation. They're a really good football team. Brady White's a quarterback, and he's a star. Cincinnati's really good. SMU's really good. Navy's good. And then UCF's probably like the 5th best. UCF is a really good football team. And then you have an underrated Tulane. They're better to me than the ACC is right now. They're a stronger conference than the ACC is. I'm picking Memphis here. They're 9-point favorites. I like that 9-point favorite because Memphis is a better football team than Cincinnati. They have a better quarterback. And that's why Brady White is going to dot them up. Okay. Moving on to SEC championship game. And now, this is where I'm a Big Ten fan, okay? I'm a Penn State fan. I'm a Hokie fan. I'm a lot of fans. I like Georgia, too. You know, I live in the South. So Florida and Georgia, they're my teams, too, because I've lived here. I've kind of adopted them as my teams. I'm not an SEC bias guy, though. If LSU loses and they still make it in, that proves it for me. SEC bias. Okay? I'm going to do a whole rant if LSU makes it. I'm saving that rant for if LSU makes it. Georgia, Bulldogs, LSU 7.5-point favorites. This is why it's going to be a really close game. LSU has played a lot of good teams. I'm not going to knock them on that. The reason they beat Bama to me is because they played a lot of good teams. They know how to win against good teams. That's not the problem. They've played bad defenses. Now, like, I know you play in the SEC. Everything is super good in the SEC. Okay, I'd like to point out, like, when the Big 12 player teams let up 50-plus points, they're bad defenses. Iron Bowl, Alabama, Auburn, that was some great defense right there. You can't tell me that letting up 50 points is good defense. That's just called bad defense. That's the worst defense there is. You don't just let up that amount of points and say, you know, I feel like we had a good defensive game. No, you had a terrible defensive game. That is why. You let up 50 points. Okay, I'm not. This game feels differently for me. They played Alabama. They played Auburn. They both showed that they don't have that great of defenses last week. Florida is probably the best defense they've played. Georgia's defense is better. Georgia's defense is one of the best in the country. That's why LSU game's going to be different. LSU's offense is known for putting up points with Heisman winner. It hasn't been announced, but everyone knows it's going to be Joe Burrow. To me, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's going to be a more defensive battle. And Jake Fromm, like, for all his knocks, that LSU defense cannot stop Jake Fromm. And then you add DeAndre Swift into the equation. And I like Georgia here. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat from it. I'm picking Georgia. They're 7.5-point dogs. Give me Georgia. Now, Wisconsin, Ohio State. Now, these last two, Big Ten, ACC, no. Let's just say that Ohio State's 16-point favorites, and I don't think Wisconsin's going to cover. Did you watch that game in the regular season? Ohio State demolished them, and do you know why? It's because Wisconsin has Jonathan Taylor, and that's it. Like, I'd say their defense is really good, and it is really good. I'm not going to knock them on that, but you go out there, you go 3 and out, your defense goes on the field. Your defense stops them. You go 3 and out, your defense back on the field. They get tired, and that's what happened in the Ohio State game. The first half was really close if you watch the game. But in the second half, the defense was tired. They were exhausted because their offense was never on the field. Because you know what? Ohio State said, we're going to stop Jonathan Taylor. Best running back in the NCAA, in my opinion. But your entire offense can't be Jonathan Taylor. It just can't be. Penn State's offense was Saquon Barkley until Trey started coming out. And you know what happened? People would stack the box against Saquon Barkley. This is what happens when you have a great running back. It opens up the passing game, but you have to have a good passer for that to matter. Ohio State blowout over Wisconsin. Okay, now Clemson versus Virginia. Not gonna lie, I was not that impressed with Virginia quarterback and Virginia Tech's defense. Like, I get it. At the end of the game, he was throwing some nice balls. No, he wasn't. The Virginia wide receivers were just catching everything. The Virginia Tech wide guys were leaving them wide open. That's what happens. Any quarterback can do that. Guess what? Clemson guys don't leave guys wide open. Not gonna happen. This is a Clemson defense. Superb. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL, in the NCAA right now. Probably would be a really good defense in the NFL right now. Clemson, they're a shoo-in to make the playoffs for me. They get an easy championship game. To be honest, for me, Ohio State, Clemson, already there. It's a question if Georgia LSU, whoever wins that game, already there. To me, whoever wins Pac-12 and Big 12, it's going to be a question mark. Whoever they'll take the college football playoff committee to decide. To be honest, for me, I pick Utah, but that's me. I'm putting in Clemson no matter what. Anyways, they're going to win this game. Like, I don't even have a doubt about it. 29-point dogs. I think Virginia's going to make it a little bit closer than that. But come on. Yeah, no. Virginia, you're going to make it less than a 29-point game. I'll give you that. But Clemson gave cheers of joy when Virginia Tech lost to Virginia last week, because this team right here, the Hokies, my opinion, the only team that could have beat Clemson from the ACC Coastal. The best team from the ACC Coastal, in my opinion. Virginia Tech, hopefully it'll be really good next year. To be honest, for me, best team in ACC Coastal. Virginia won just because a Hokies offensive line decided not to block at the end of the game. Who knows what in the world happened there. But Clemson, blowout win. Hey everybody, this is GGB and co-host Peppers. Hopefully see you again, and I'm probably going to post a video tomorrow too about the NFL. Please watch that. I really appreciate it. But anyways, so GGB and co-host Peppers saying, adios amigos.